Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. This evening in Corbin, folks gathered at Nibrock Park for another Black Lives Matter protest. They lined Main Street and the night was peaceful. It was the city's third protest. WYMT's Connor James was there and has more.
Thursday night, voices here in Corbin echoed chants and people waved signs.
People in Appalachia need to know that they have allies, and that's what this is about.
Sarah Howard organized the protest at Nibrock Park. Howard says it's important for small towns to step up and speak out.
And it's all about just showing support for the people of color in our community and to show our disdain for the wrongful and unjust murders of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Eric Garner, Ahmaud Arbery, countless others. Just enough is enough.
Across the street, a small group came by and said they were there to keep things peaceful. They said they were not there to counter-protest, and some ended up crossing the street. Others who came out say it is the least they can do.
I want to be on the right side of history. My mom grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and she stood for Black lives back then, and it's important for me to do the same now.
Tamara Eaton was born in Corbin. She says she's happy for the show of support.
This is my hometown, and I'm really proud of how many people showed up to stand up for people and stand up for what's right.
And as the protest continued on through the evening, honks echoed Main Street in support of Black Lives Matter. In Corbin, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
The group Kentuckians for Change, who hosted this, have another one in Middlesboro on Sunday at City Hall. And another protest is scheduled for Saturday night in downtown Hazard. Today, Governor Beshear was asked about a Confederate statue in the Capitol. There's a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis in the Capitol Rotunda. Governor Beshear says he believes the statue should not be there and that it should be removed. He called it a symbol that divides us.
I believe that Jefferson Davis statue is a symbol that divides us. And even if there are those that think it's a part of history, there should be a better place to put it in historic context. And right now, seeing so much pain in our state and across our country, can't we at least realize that in so many of our fellow Kentuckians, people that, again, we're talking about compassion in terms of COVID, we ought to have compassion for all pain. Can't we understand that it is, in the very least, so hurtful to them, and doesn't that at least justify it not sitting where it does right now? I don't think it should be in the Capitol Rotunda.
The governor said there should be a better place for it with more historical context for the statue. Well, George Floyd's life was eulogized and celebrated today as mourners and protesters alike vowed his violent death must bring change. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from Minneapolis.
Mourners stood silent for 8 minutes and 46 seconds to honor George Floyd.
That's how long he was laying there. There's no excuse.
Family, friends, and civic leaders gathered in Minneapolis to pay tribute to Floyd at the first of several memorials planned for the coming days.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
All these people came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he touched so many people's hearts.
Members of Congress and celebrities also attended the service for the 46-year-old father of two who came here to the city to start a new life. Nearby, a judge set bail at $750,000 for each of the 3 fired Minneapolis police officers charged with aiding and abetting in Floyd's death. Former officer Derek Chauvin, who had his knee on Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes, faces an upgraded charge of second-degree murder.
Had we marched peacefully, it never would have happened. There never would have been new charges. There never would have been a charge to begin with.
Demonstrators marched peacefully in Los Angeles on Thursday. But Les Miller's eyeglasses store is one of many area businesses looted over the last week.
These are opportunistic, I call them thugs, that take advantage of smoke screens, of people who are doing a peaceful demonstration for a cause.
And at a prayer vigil in New York City, George Floyd's younger brother urged calm on all sides.
I'm proud of the protest, but I'm not proud of the destruction.
Thousands walked over the Brooklyn Bridge chanting Floyd's name. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Minneapolis.
George Floyd's body will be flown to North Carolina, where he was born, for a public viewing and a private family service Saturday.
Well, we've seen the scattered showers and thunderstorms return this afternoon, especially this evening, looking a lot more on the soggy side for a lot of us heading into the rest of the evening and a little bit into the overnight hours. This is satellite and radar. Over the past hour, we've mostly just seen heavy rain, frequent lightning and thunder, maybe a few gusty winds. None of those storms have been on the severe side, but some have been strong. You could see a severe storm actually down into parts of eastern Tennessee. But like I said, they've been kind of a little bit around us, but so far it's not been too bad here in the mountains. Scanning the skies now, though, you are still seeing pockets of heavy rain and thunder just now rumbling here at my house over closer to parts of Jeff, Kentucky. So we're about to get some nice thunderstorms to hopefully put a lot of us to sleep. So you can see some heavy bands starting to move into Hazard, Floyd County, a little bit up into Paintsville, starting to see some heavier downpours, and over even into Knott County and back towards Jackson and a little bit back towards London and stuff, mostly just dealing with kind of some heavier downpours. We're starting to see those storms move in, like I said, especially here in Hazard. Scattered rain chances continue tonight, mid to upper 60s. So we are going to continue to see those move throughout the mountains tonight and even as we head into tomorrow. So scattered storms will continue kind of on and off throughout the morning hours tomorrow. The hot and humid conditions continue heading at least into the first half of the weekend, and we'll see more sunshine for the weekend as well. The rest of that Friday and weekend forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, I'm hearing that thunder here at the studio too. Thank you, Paige. There's a drug in eastern Kentucky that is becoming a problem. Health officials say they are seeing an increase in overdoses linked to pressed pills. These pills are made to look like prescription drugs. However, they are filled with fentanyl or other dangerous substances. Health officials say these pills are made in other countries. Experts say users do not know the dangers of these counterfeit pills.
Typically what they use is fentanyl or some other substance and press a pill that looks very similar to Suboxone or Lortabs or something of that nature. When they use one of these counterfeit pills, they do the same thing and they get a much higher level of an opioid in their system and causes them to overdose.
Lockhart says they are encouraging their community partners and agencies to carry Narcan to help save lives. If you or a loved one is struggling with substance abuse, we have some helpful tools for you on our website at WYMT.com. On Monday night, Kentucky State Police say 9-year-old Jeremiah Fox was killed in an accidental shooting near Beattyville in Lee County. In just 3 days, the community has raised more than $7,500 on a GoFundMe page to cover funeral expenses. A family friend who owns her own business is doing a raffle, selling a basket with candles, tarts, air fresheners, and earrings. In just 2 days, people have bought $400 worth of tickets. Governor Andy Beshear says it is too early to tell if a new uptick in COVID-19 cases will impact the Commonwealth's recent downward trend. He announced 295 new cases during a shorter news conference today. 8 new deaths were also announced. More than 10,700 Kentuckians have contracted the virus. The death toll is now up to 458. More than 3,300 people have recovered. We now know which JCPenney stores will be closing after the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last month. 6 stores will be closing in Kentucky, including the location in Middlesboro at the Middlesboro Mall. Elsewhere, the Campbellsville, Danville, Hopkinsville, Maysville, and Owensboro locations will also shut their doors for good. We have a full list of the closings on our website at WYMT.com. With guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control and Kentucky Board of Education, school officials are beginning to plan for the upcoming school year. But putting a plan in place has been difficult. Superintendent of Floyd County Schools, Danny Atkins, created a survey for parents and staff to help with the decision-making process. That survey is made up of 11 questions, asking parents whether they prefer in-person classes or online learning for their students. Atkins says no matter the choice, they are prepared.
Floyd County was already one-to-one initiative on devices from the 5th grade to the 12th grade. We just purchased enough devices to make us one-to-one from kindergarten to 12th grade. So every student will get a device to work from home if they choose to do online learning.
The survey goes out tomorrow morning. Once the results are calculated, Adkins hopes to announce what the school year will look like by the beginning of August. Under the governor's guidelines, movie theaters are one business that could reopen Monday at 33% capacity. Tri-County Cineplex in Corbin opened their doors with several new procedures and safety measures in place, including plexiglass shields, line markers, hand sanitizer stations, and marked-off seats in the theater, just to name a few. Susie Rasmus, co-owner of the theater, says they are excited to entertain people again.
We're really family here, and I do think that, being smaller, that we are able to be a little bit more nimble in this environment.
As movie production has also decreased during COVID-19, they're showing many classic movies right now, including The Wizard of Oz, Grease, and The Goonies. The theater has also reduced their ticket price to $5.